I get questions all the time about Apex Trader funding since I'm funded through them, and I wanted to cover those most commonly asked questions about the trailing threshold, how I look at it, my strategy, the trade copier, and a bunch more today in this YouTube video. They've been awesome for me. It's the only third-party company I've ever used, and so the only one that I feel like I can really speak to as I have personal experience with them. So let's jump in. The first thing I'll say here is I'm covering the most frequently asked questions that I get that I think are really important. There's a lot of rules, so make sure that you do your own research. This is in no way, shape, or form a comprehensive video that covers everything that you need to know about them because there's a lot. So please do your own research. So the first question, what is Apex Trader funding? It's a third party that will give you capital to trade if you pass an evaluation. And it doesn't mean that they're gonna send you a check for this funded account. I use NinjaTrader and it simply is listed on my NinjaTrader as another account to trade with. We're gonna be using a 50K size account as an example for the majority of this video. So say that you pass a 50K account, they would then give you that account. It would pop up into your NinjaTrader once you set it all up correctly, and you could trade it as if you had $50,000, and you profit what you make on top of that $50,000. So that first $25,000 that you make on that account is yours. Then it's a 90-10 split. So you keep 90% of the profits. Another common question that I get is if you blow the account, what do you have to pay? Let's again use that 50K example. You do not have to pay that 50,000 back. In fact, initially when you're doing an evaluation, that's traded as if it's a demo account. So that's not real money that you're playing with. So say that you do blow that account, what do you have to pay? If you want to continue to trade it, you can pay a reset fee. If you wait for the following month and then you renew that account, so you pay that again the following month, it will automatically reset that account if you've already blown it. But again, you do not have to pay that 50,000 back if you blow a 50K account, whether it's an evaluation or a funded account already. There's often deals on both of these things. In fact, there's a link down below. Currently, they have an 80% off right now off of all their evaluations. Sometimes they have deals on reset fees as well if you end up blowing an evaluation account. Now, next question, is this something that's for you? The best use case for funded accounts, in my opinion, are if you are a profitable trader already and you just want to expand your capital. It's a very simple way to do that. As long as you have tight risk parameters, you can use a trade copier and you can trade multiple accounts as if you're trading one. I'll go over this at the end of the video. I use this personally for my personal account, funded accounts, and evaluations that I'm using all at the same time. I also think this could work for new traders wanting to try futures. Sometimes it can be expensive to just try futures out if you want to. There's data fees that are related to it. There are hefty commissions as well. Just getting a broker sometimes can be difficult, and getting an eval account will actually take care of all of this for you. They'll give you the data. They'll give you a NinjaTrader license. So this way you have a little bit more skin in the game rather than just a pure simulation account. Above all else, I think it's less risk than using your own capital. You can go get an account for $50 or less, and that is really your max loss if you choose to blow that account. I do think that there are some situations where this is not for certain traders, especially if you plan to gamble these. You have to realize that a lot of these funding companies make a lot of their money off of the cost of evaluations and the cost of the reset fees. They can really add up, especially because this works as a subscription essentially if you continue to have those accounts. So be careful with these. Trade them as if they are real money. Of course, if high risk and you're okay paying a reset fee or paying for another account, that's totally up to you. But recognize that a lot of these companies make their money in this way. In addition to that, once you get a funded account, there's some additional rules around consistency and being a true consistent trader. This is not for trading gamblers. There's actually some preventative measures in there where if you're going to go in before a news event and it's a pure gamble, they won't give you those profits. This is one example where if 30% of your profits come from a single trade, they want you to trade until that's not the case to get a payout. So again, not for gamblers, not for people that are looking for quick money, but people that want to be consistent, profitable traders. This is great. So how do these evaluations work? I've pulled up the 50K example here. The goal, you can see the profit goal here is $3,000. So your goal is to get your account to $53,000 for an evaluation before hitting your trailing threshold. If you can do that, then you can obtain a performance account. Now, a lot to talk about with the trailing threshold. This can be a very confusing thing. So the trailing threshold is the max you can lose before you lose the account. Regardless of where you're at in your profits, the max you can lose is $2,500. So this follows you. I've got a couple examples down below, but this is trailing your profits. So let's do some math. If you start out with that 50K account, your trailing threshold is always $2,500. So initially when you open that account, your max drawdown, the minimum that your account can go to before getting blown, is $47,500. This is supposed to say max loss. This is always going to be the case where you have a $2,500 trailing threshold following you. So same thing, let's use the example. If you go up $1,000, your account is now at 51K, your trailing threshold follows you again. It's always going to be $2,500 behind the max profit that you've seen. So if 51K is the max profit that you've seen, your trailing threshold would be $48,500. All we did was add 1,000 from that previous $47,500. Same thing, let's say that the max profit that you got that account to was $52,000. Your trailing threshold will now be $49,500. So on and so forth until you hit that $3,000 profit goal. Some of these other companies will have a daily drawdown max. What this means is within a given day, there's a max amount that you can hit. This doesn't exist within Apex Trader Funding on the full 50K accounts. So it's just that trailing threshold of $2,500. So that usually begs the question, how do I pass this where I have a stop loss that's constantly following me as I make profits? Well, the beauty is this will fall off once you get a funded account. We call these performance accounts. But the key here that I found is discipline. High reward, low risk setups only. So when I'm trading my funded accounts, I only will trade high confluence supply and demand areas with confirmation, only the best setups. And recognize that you still have to be able to lose. Unless you want to blow the account in one trade, you still have to be able to lose. So that's why your risk has to be tiny and your reward has to be large in order to pass these in the long term. This also begs the question, how should I size my account? So in the case of a 50K account, you can trade up to 10 ES contracts. Note that if you do this, every point of movement on ES will make you or lose you $500. So if you do that and your max drawdown, your trailing threshold is always $2,500, you only have 5 points of wiggle room. So given the fact that your trailing threshold is always $2,500 on an evaluation account, how big is your account actually? Think about a personal account. If you have $2,000 in a personal account and you can only lose that $2,000, how big is that account? It's $2,000. So I think they do use some marketing here that hurts people, where a 50K account gives you the ability to trade 10 ES contracts that are full size if you want to. But if you have a $2,500 account, are you really going to be trading with 10 ES contracts? Even with my strategy and the best setups, this would allow me to lose 2 trades and then I would blow an account. So I talk about the 2% rule often, which states that you should never risk more than 2% of your account size on a given trade. Now, am I advocating to trade this way on an evaluation? Not necessarily, but just to make it a point, if you had $2,500, 2% would be $50, and that would be a very safe trade setup. Do I do this? Not necessarily. Now, do I follow this for the evaluation accounts myself? No. I try to work through these a little bit faster. I'm okay with blowing them in the name of passing them faster if possible. So typically when I start a 50K account, I will size around 2 full ES contracts at max size, maybe 3 if it's a great setup. I do use the micros. That's also a great way to trade these so that you can trim or take off a part of your position as things move in your favor, or take some of them off if it's not. So no shame in any of that. Trading 10, 20 micro ES contracts will profit you around the same amount as a full-size ES contract or 2 ES contracts. There might be a little bit more in commissions, but just so you know, I've passed them using micros as well. One other thing here that I didn't note on this slide, but if you're used to trading 2 micros and then you immediately go to trading 3 full-size ES contracts, recognize that there's a lot of psychology that goes into things if you size up like that. That's a dramatic difference, over a 10x size difference if you were to do that. I found that it's a lot harder to stop out of your positions when you're using a bigger size. I know this from personal experience. Once you're in profits, I found that it's harder to hold positions longer because you're looking at the amount of money and it means so much more to you because you haven't traded that size before. So all of this to say, it's important to have a trading system. Remember that there's still psychology that's going on here with you. Trading itself is actually very simple. The concepts are simple. What's difficult is the discipline and the patience to wait for those A+ setups. So my strategy itself, if you've seen some of my videos, I am a supply and demand trader. And my A+ setup for these funded accounts are waiting for us to hit a key supply and demand zone on typically the hourly time frame, and then waiting for 2 or 5 minute confirmation with order flow, and then waiting for a 2 and or 5 minute candle confirmation as far as the price action goes and the way that it looks, with volume, with order flow. And this will typically allow me to set 2 points of stop loss to make around 5 to 10 points of reward. So we're typically looking at 2.5 to 5 times my risk. When I'm strict with this will allow me to lose 2, 3 trades in a row and not bat an eye because my reward is usually so high. There's not enough time to go over my entire strategy. I have a link to the Discord and course below where I teach all of that in full. There's about 20 different videos in there that teach everything in full. Now, getting payouts. So once you pass that evaluation, the funds will settle at the end of that day and you'll get an email. I have another video on this that I just posted before this, and they'll congratulate you on passing your evaluation. Now, once you get that funded account, that starts at 50K, again, using that 50K example, and you have to reach 52,600 on that PA account to get your first payout. You might be seeing some similarities here with the trailing threshold. There's actually a reason for that. So that trailing threshold follows you on a PA account, just like it would an evaluation up until you hit that 52,600. Anything over that 52,600 does not follow you with the trailing threshold. Their website has some really awesome videos on the trailing threshold. I would highly recommend to take a look at this because it explains things visually. I'm a visual learner, so it really helped. Your payouts, I believe, do have to be a minimum of $500 per payout. There's 2 times a month that you can request those payouts. So you can pay yourself like a business about every 2 weeks, take those payouts out of those PA accounts once you've gotten them. All right, one of my favorite parts about all of this is how the trade copier works. So again, once you get funded, it just comes into your NinjaTrader as another account. Below, this is my own trade copier. I blurred this out because I don't know if you could do anything with the numbers, but I kept my privacy with those. So as you can see here, there's a leader account that you trade off of. And once you're using the trade copier, you are just trading one account, basically. You can link all the rest of your accounts up to 20 on the trade copier and trade them as if you're trading one account. However, this is copying all the trades across all of these accounts. There's some cool capabilities to this where you can trade them on a ratio. So in this case, this personal account is bigger than this account that I have here. So I decrease the size in half for this account. Now this is set to trade full ES mini contracts. You can use this cross button here, and if you turn this on, it'll flip it to the micro. So in this case, where this is turned on, I'm trading ES on this leader account, but this follower account is switched over to a micro account, and I've also utilized the ratio, and so I'm increasing the size by 6. And it's really easy to turn these on, off. I'll often mention on the lives that I'm decreasing size or turning off accounts. This is one of the ways that I can do that really easily. Come in and click what I need to, or just disconnect it altogether. Above all else, this is a great opportunity to expand your capital if you're profitable. Recognize that these are difficult to pass. Now, as with many things in life, and with this, I think slow and steady wins the race. Once you get a funded account, think about linking multiple of these together. When you're consistent, you can have 4-figure days utilizing a couple accounts, just making a couple $100s a day. If you're planning on getting an evaluation account, make sure that you use a discount code. I have that link down below in the description. Don't pay full price for these. There's often deals going on. If you learned anything or appreciated this content, it would mean the world to me if you liked, subscribed, left a comment. If you have any questions, feel free to ping me in the comments or in the free Discord, and I'll see you in the next video.